You can pay over UPI with your credit card, and I have been speaking to the person who created this system, Dilip Asbe of NPCI. Also with me, Parag Rao of HDFC Bank, Akhil Handa of BOB, and Kunal Shah, founder and CEO of Cred. Gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Mr. Asbe, how will now the bulk of cards, probably 90-95% out there, are Visa MasterCards? Will this system be open to them eventually? Is this a dry run with your own card and they will be brought in? Or will it be that they will use that Bharat QR, something that was created during demonetization and never went ahead?
This may not be an appropriate question for me to answer. It's a regulator which does the policy making, and we are an executing agency in that sense. Okay. So we will do whatever the regulator directs us to do. Okay. The second point is, Lata, I think the existing credit card users are well served. I personally think that, and I would just like to go back what Parag said. I think now we are looking at, with this facility of the fully digital onboarding, fully digital journey, we can give a smaller credits to the millions and millions of Indians, right? And technically, as a country, the credit is so critical for our country to create this consumption economy. I think we should look at a dream that, why can't we underwrite every Indian in next 5 years? I think that's possible now. And when we look at the variety of different...
Because of the Jan Dhan accounts and all that you're saying.
Everything. I'm just saying that why a 500 rupees credit card, 500 rupees credit, or 1,000 rupees credit, why it can be even started from there. Now, because of the digital life cycle, Lata, that, and maybe Parag and Kunal and others, Akhil can speak about. But, I think with the auto pay, which RBI now has enabled the limit to 15,000 rupees per transaction.
Yes.
I think this whole thing can be seamless. The whole thing can be seamless. Obviously, it goes without saying that the credit is a very critical business for and critical for the financial services stability of the country. So obviously it has to be done with the high due diligence, and I'm sure the banks have been practicing that even in the COVID time. So obviously nobody would like that, give a lot of loans and not to get the money back. We need to, there is an obligation on the ecosystem to create a responsible citizens, right? So I personally think it's a huge opportunity in terms of underwriting every Indian. I think now with this whole digital life cycle, digital journey, the banks can do it. Banks and fintechs both can do it very, very efficiently. Okay. And I must believe that now the banks and fintechs now should look at this, taking this 40-50 million credit card holders, unique credit card holders to 5x in next 5 years.
Okay. Well, let me start with the fintech guy. At the moment, again, Kunal, you're serving the upper end of this pyramid. But do you see fintechs coming in and taking it to the last mile in some fashion? After all, if, say, my maid were to constantly use her UPI and, she's transferring money to the village, you can have some idea of how much money she has in a month, which is why she's transferring it. So you think fintechs will be able to run artificial intelligence on this and give credit cards more? You see that happening?
I foresee Dilip's goal of 5x really happening. The reason I see it happening is no matter who we are, we all love paying later. And that's a deep psychological bias through which human beings operate. And I think credit allows a consumption to take off. I'll give a story of a QS. The largest QSR 12, 13 years ago did not accept credit cards. And the moment they started accepting credit cards, they saw that average consumer AOV went up by 1.6x. What happens is the consumption economy will start seeing both loops in going in where merchants requesting for cards and consumers wishing to pay through credit cards. And therefore, very soon, you will see as soon as the barrier to issue, the barrier to repay, the barrier to kind of use the ecosystem in acceptance, all of this are systematically going down. I foresee that this is going to happen. And fintechs need a business model. The MDR does help versus the current UPI thing, which currently has enabled the country to take a big thing. But if you have to make financial sense of going forward, credit will have to play a very big role.
Yeah. Yeah, one hopes that MDR continues and we are not overcome by socialistic overtures unnecessarily. After all, someone has to pay. I agree with you. Parag, do you genuinely see this expansion of credit card issuance, maybe of RuPay cards? Is this an attractive proposition? What number can you throw?
Nice question. Well, irrespective, I mean, I think look at the ecosystem level with the expansion of UPI and the whole millions of customers. Dilip mentioned 250 million customers who are now used to electronic transactions. Any which way, I will expect that the credit card market will grow. As I've seen in many other economies, consumers start with simpler forms of payment and then sort of upgrade themselves to more sophisticated form of payments. And therefore, the way we look at it is that this whole set of UPI customers who don't have a credit card are actually a funnel or future potential credit card customers. So irrespective, I do expect that the credit card ecosystem will grow. I don't know whether it's 3x, 5x or 10x, but it will definitely grow. This initiative of linking the RuPay credit card today to UPI, I think is only going to be one more means in which banks will be able to look at small credit, people who erstwhile you would not want to who didn't give credit cards. What I think banks will have to do is their own underwriting methodology, conventional methodology which we use today. I think we'll have to take a slightly different. We've got to take a slightly different way of looking at things. In the SME space, typically you use what you call cash flow based lending. The underlying UPI transactions of a customer today give you that visibility into not just what's happening in his account, but also the kind of flows, where he's spending, etc., etc. So cash flow based lending, it's a new way of underwriting customers. I think will have to be sort of adopted more and more. Okay, but yes, I definitely see an expansion of the credit card base. I see an expansion of consumption, as Kunal and even Dilip were mentioning, with the advent of credit. So
they will all look to you only,
I'm
Parag.
bullish on the kind of
this onus will have to be borne by a person like HDFC Bank, digitally savvy, and now, next only to SBI. SBI doesn't have cards, so the responsibility is squarely going to fall on you to deliver. Beware of what number you are throwing. But anyway, just a word. Are you aware of Are you aware at all of what Visa and Master could be doing? I mean, that is the vacant seat in this panel. I should have called one of them. Couldn't get through. You think that Bharat QR comes or they get in here? Any idea at all, Parag?
I wouldn't be able to speak on their behalf, but this much I do know. I think Dilip has built an interoperable system, and if required, sort of most other schemes could sort of get onto that. Okay. So I'm hopeful that the entire ecosystem could sort of join this program.
Okay, next panel should be with one RBI and one card issuer, I guess. Akhil, what's your sense? The public sector banks actually do the last mile in several instances, not to take away credit from HDFC Bank, but you guys do. Are you seeing that RuPay will edge out other cards? You will issue more RuPay than Visa Master simply because probably it has more advantages now?
I think there is, we are looking at a lot of variables coming together, and now fundamentally what we're doing is we are putting two rails which operate very differently, or up till now have operated very differently, and we are juxtaposing them to each other. Now, what that will, to my mind, do is harmonize some of the operating rules of both of them. Okay. And given that UPI happens to be the dominant way of payments today for the retail customer, I think the credit ecosystem will start moving in that direction in terms of harmonization.
Okay.
Now,
1 minute. What about cost? Do you think that will be a deterrent, Akhil, for all banks and fintechs coming on board? I mean,
I think it is still again it's for Dilip and the regulator to look at what the commercial structure for this is. But to my mind, you will have to compensate because credit operates in fundamentally different ways than debit instruments.
Okay.
And what you're doing now is you're bringing through a same form factor credit and debit instrument.
Yes.
And it has been tried, in different parts of the world, including in India before. The UPI also had an OD, but with very limited success. But I do think this time it will be different. This time it will see breakaway success.
Okay.
But overall, for that to happen, you will probably need the other networks to get on board as well.
Fair enough.
Because that is where the bulk of the volume, credit card volume is right now.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Unfortunately, out of time, but I have a lot more issues. And so I'm taking a rain check from all of you, especially Dilip Asbe. We have to still discuss, whether we get to the situation which you see in foreign countries. You actually don't carry a wallet, Kunal, don't you? When you go, say, to London or any of those countries, tap everywhere for your tube ticket or whether you're buying a water bottle. We have to reach that stage, and hopefully this is the first step. From entering the UPI number, Mr. Asbe, you will probably give us a scan where we can tap the phone itself. Maybe that is the next step you'll tell us. And I think you already put on the international rails as well, at least for Europe. So lots more to discuss with all of you. I'll take your permission for another day. Thank you very much for watching this special and very interesting show, I should say.